Yeah, got it.
So you get categorised at the point of injury. So, you know, if you're an alpha, that means we need to get you out soon. It means that your life or a limb is in immediate danger. So if we don't get you out in that hour, you're going to die or lose a limb. If they come in during the golden hour, they are very much more likely to survive. And that's basically because the longer they don't, you know, they're bleeding, for example, obviously, the less their chances of survival are. Get them in there within that hour, stabilise on the resus bay, and then send them into surgery within that 1 hour. So that's including evac, getting them there, stabilisation, and straight into surgery.
So I spent 56 minutes on the ground and had some people do some out-of-this-world stuff to me. Like I had 2 elbows. I had one that went the other way, which was interesting. A couple of bones broken in that hand. This leg wasn't attached, it was just gone. There's an x-ray that's got sort of the shrapnel, it's, yeah, peeled flesh there. Then from that knee the whole way down, it kind of looked like someone had rolled my entire foot.
Damien had a terrible set of injuries, terrible in the sense of life-threatening, and in past generations of war, he would have died.
Obviously a very intense situation that people were in that were around it, you know. I mean, they had to get clothes cut off, tourniquets on legs, things like that, you know. I mean, it's especially from the kid who crawled across, you know. I mean, he did a fair bit of the initial work before the medic got there.
But there, his medics and his team members stepped up to save his life, and they did that fantastically.
Damien is extremely fortunate that, you know, he had those guys that got him in that first 56 minutes, then the Bastion Hospital, the field hospital, that he had some sensationally good people there who kept him alive. And if you look at his medical records, there was nothing suggested he would ever live. They'd given up on him.
It flew me about a metre back. I can pretty much remember everything by the time, you know, I landed on my back, my number 2. He was telling me to lay, and he was there holding my head together because it was obviously split open, whilst the rest of the guys came in to try to help me. During the fog of war, you hear your mates, you know, and all you care about is your mates, and, you know, having that comfort around you is fantastic.
What other boys have got you? More thanks. Get that bandage up. It's coming medical for another 20 minutes.
But because of the pain and things like that, Warren was trying to encourage me to keep talking. The mates were there constantly. They saved my life, they did.
We got a casualty coming! We got a casualty coming! Yeah, everyone's up here. They're going to put the HOs in just here.
The main injuries and things that we have, regardless of who they were, are IED blast injuries, so limbs missing, lots of shrapnel, those kind of things, and gunshot wounds as well.
On 2 occasions we had bomb makers brought in who had been in the process of making or laying bombs. They both came in with limbs missing, and I can tell you that the standard of care provided to them was what was given to Australian soldiers. Again, I think that's important to understand, that the Australian kind of belief in fairness and providing support kind of covers everyone. I think we're comfortable enough as a nation to still respect our foe, and these guys are kids. They're like 14, 15 years old. They're kids caught up in a war that they probably don't know any different.
The local Afghanis were basically just people caught in the crossfire, so close enough to an IED to get some shrapnel. Some of them were mistaken in the crossfire and shot and these kind of things, and shot by their own people. They're just innocent people caught in the crossfire, basically, yeah.
Everybody rises to the occasion when they have to do those jobs. And I think, of course, they can't completely divorce themselves from this was their friend or their colleague, but training helps that, and I think the job at hand, the need to concentrate and focus, those things, those reflections on the personal come later, come the evening after action or the next day.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's difficult to treat anyone in the same uniform. We found that's always the the hardest ones to treat.
I've said on many occasions that I think the combat engineers were the heroes, well, certainly prominent amongst the heroes in the Afghanistan fight. Medics were the other group to whom I have such a debt of gratitude and great admiration. Every patrol went out with a medic. The medics occasionally had to do the most extraordinary life-saving actions under fire, whilst, dodging bullets, uncertain about whether there were more IEDs nearby, and confronting, in some cases, truly horrible woundings and death. And they were a group that I worried about. I worried about their well-being, as I did worry about everyone, but I particularly worried about some of our medics who confronted so much and took on so much responsibility. They care so much about the people that they are there to help. And time and time again, I'd hear accounts of when the bomb went off or the shots rang out and someone fell, the very first one on their feet and running forward would be the medic. Remarkable people.